Anyway, I just want to point out that not only will I not get rid of any of the games that I currently have, but I've also looked into rebuying old games off Amazon, like old Mega Drive games.
Like what ones?
Like I looked at getting a cartridge version. Well, like buying Gunstar Heroes for like the 8th time in my life on cartridge.
Why have you gotten rid of it repeatedly then? Why don't you just buy it once and be done with it like all the rest of them?
Just so I could have it.
Why is it okay for you to get rid of all of those games that you had before, but you can't get rid of any of the games that you've bought now as an
I don't
adult?
think I did. I didn't get rid of them. Just the battery's dead in some of the cartridges, so I can't play them. They won't. You can't save your game on them anymore.
But you said the 8th time, so...
Well, that's because I bought Gunstar Heroes on like virtual platforms, so I have it on like the Wii and.
So why do you need it in a non-virtual platform?
Because it would be like in the. I don't have an answer. I just want it.
I remember Norman Chan. He's on another podcast. He was saying that he always buys 3 copies of games: one to open, one to have, and one to archive.
What does archiving even mean? That's so creepy.
He puts it into like a climate-controlled room.
I'm putting it into a Mylar bag.
Yeah,
Close your eyes, avert!
just so that if all your stuff goes away, you still have that one.
I feel like that's representative of a sort of
That's like bomb shelter
Yeah.
style.
That's like a sort of psychosis of my stuff. My stuff is my stuff.
Yeah,
You can eBay almost anything now.
yeah.
I mean,
Or get it for 5p.
Like you can find probably in most cases a brand new console, like an old console that you never owned, and all of the important games for it at this point. I would imagine.
This is already the podcast, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Just to be clear.
I was going to say, you can't eBay...
The talking about video games bit.
Yeah.
You can't
sort of tipped me off.
Encyclopedia Britannica. Because people always call in and say, where do we get it? And we're like, have you left it on eBay? And then they go, yeah.
Do you mean like a physical copy of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. People aren't selling them on
Well,
eBay.
Really?
You should just
Yeah.
direct them to a copy of Encarta 95 instead.
Blasphemy.
A rich multimedia
Hutchinson's
experience.
Multimedia Encyclopedia.
You know, it's funny, I remember having I think it came on the cover of a magazine, like Encarta 95 or something, and it literally had like 600 articles in
my
it. And you're
God.
like, you must have really wanted some specific stuff.
I had Encarta, it wouldn't have been 95 because it was for Windows 95.
It was the first, I think 95,
Oh
that
my
was the
god,
first.
and there was that game in it where like you had to find your way out of the maze by like doing the trivia and you had 5 matches. I loved that game. It's amazing. I was shit at it, but I loved it.
She went
I just
into my
remember-
library at high school, like everyone was just playing that.
Yeah.
Instead of using...
From what I remember,
The actual encyclopedia.
From what I remember-
But you learned something,
Yeah, kind of.
right?
It was trivia?
Yeah.
Probably.
From what I remember of Encarta 95 is that as long as you wanted to know about the assassination of JFK and associated video footage, it had you covered.
And the Hindenburg disaster.
Yeah, the Hindenburg disaster, but everything else,
Yeah.
like...
The Mayflower.
I tried using it to do a rainforest project for Year 9 GCSE Geography, and
Nothing.
it wasn't very helpful.
I feel like I might have used it for something in 6th grade? What year would that have been? I don't even know. But now I can't remember if I used Encarta or I used the internet, which would have been badass if I used the internet.
In
Would I use the internet in
1995,
6th grade?
6th grade, how old would you have been?
I would have been in middle school. I would have been like 10, 11 at that point, 11 or 12.
So that would have been
That would have been like back when there was that web search that was like Metacrawler. Is that
Yeah,
what it's
yeah,
called?
yeah.
That was one that searched all the other search engines.
Yeah.
Alta Vista was my jam back in like 96.
Yeah, I used Alta Vista for a while.
And Lycos as well.
I used Yahoo for a while as well.
Yahoo started out as more of a directory, like you would go, I want to see
It's
funny
a
web
full
pages.
disclosure that Ian used to work for Yahoo, so...
Yeah, anything I say can be considered a promotion.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yahoo was really big in the States because they had commercials. And
Yeah.
Yahoo! Yeah, they were on,
so
they were on here as
everyone
well.
knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, didn't you say you went to one of the conferences you went
Yes,
to?
yes.
They like had you all yodeling Yahoo or something.
Well, I imagine that goes down okay in the US. Like, the guy is like, okay, we're starting the meeting, we all have to yodel. But in the UK, everyone's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
We're not yodeling.
We don't do those types of things over
Yeah.
here. We're reserved and British, damn it.
Yeah.
We're not yodeling. Yahoo!
Yeah.
Oh, you just did though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
you
a
did it.
yodeler
You did it
too.
right. You did it properly as well.
Exactly, you're a yodeler. You're...
Well, I mean, you got fired if you didn't. So.
Leave.
Talking about Encarta sort of reminds me of the golden days of edutainment.
Oh my gosh.
Like Mavis Beacon teaches typing and
Mario was
I-
missing.
yeah,
I have to
and
tell you
Carmen
that
San Diego and all
I
that
did
stuff.
not use the first computer for solid purposes. I played like
The first computer was that the first lady.
no, like our first computer that had Windows 95 on it. We got that 80 arcade games. I played Duke Nukem so much
Like 2D,
that I
like-
could see it when I closed my
like
eyes.
2D Duke
yeah,
Nukem.
the back and forth side scrolling one where
Yeah.
you just blew the shit out of everything, and I just held the button down. Just held the button down the whole time.
You know,
just destroyed everything.
The sad thing about that is
No
that,
skill.
is that more than like Duke Nukem, I remember all of the clones of those games. Like, man, was there a 2D Blake Stone game as well?
Nope.
Maybe it wasn't Blake Stone. It was something similar that was
I
like
played
a
Wolfenstein
Jill of the
and
Jungle.
Snail.
yeah, Jill of the Jungle and like some
Zargon.
man. Yes, and some
Only I've ever heard of Zargon.
I don't know.
Amazon something. Yeah, I don't know. But like, it was one of those cover discs that was like
Jazz Jackrabbit.
The magazine only had about 3 pages, but the cover disc had about like
Oh, yeah,
100
yeah.
demos on it.
Like PC Attack.
And you could play a demo of like Put Put Goes to the Circus and Fatty Bear Adventures and a Day of the Tentacle demo or something like that.
There were 2 Apogee games. One was a maths one and another one was a spelling one. I can't remember what they were called. But they were like maths-based platform game.
Want to play some Wacky Wheels?
Yes, I do.
We
I'll be
used
the
to-
moose.
When
Yes,
we
I'll be
took
the shark.
Okay,
typing
deal.
class, we had to do a game as well that was that you had to type out sentences, but
Yeah.
you were being chased by shit, and the slower you typed, the more you
That sounds like Typing of the Dead.
yeah, the more that you would like it would creep up on you and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that the reason that I can type so fast is because for the entire hour I was scared shitless, just like gotta go faster, gotta go faster, gotta go faster. Neither. I remember typing that.
Definitely
like, over and
beautiful,
over.
definitely beautiful,
Yeah.
definitely beautiful.
Yeah.
Why you don't know how to
But-
spell neither.
Yeah,
100%
exactly.
accuracy.
Yeah. But I resent any games that try and teach me things anymore.
That's why you don't play
Don't
Assassin's
you
Creed
play
games.
that? Don't you play that game on the Nintendo? The one with the small Asian man, the mind memory one?
Mario?
No,
Wait.
no. It's you can just see his face. I
Oh,
can't think what it's
Dr.
called.
Kawashaka.
Brainium or whatever. Is that what it is?
Oh, that's a
Not
brain
Brainium.
training.
Brain training.
Man,
Thanks.
Brainium would have been a much better name for
Is there
it.
not something that's called Brainium?
I think that's
you
it.
can,
Like
you can see my absolute lack of
that sounds like something at like
knowledge of
Epcot.
this arena.
Welcome to the Brainium.
Yeah.
This exhibit's been here since 1938.
There is actually an Epcot exhibit called Cranium Command, which is what I feel like we're channeling here. That's like it's something that's been in Epcot since Epcot opened, and it's about the brain and
Can you walk through the brain?
probably
You
that
can walk
sounds.
through a heart.
But now, like,
That's too.
Jack
Yeah.
Sparrow shouts at you while you're in the brain.
Yeah.
You're in his brain
It's a
specifically.
themed brain.
Oh look, it's a brain, isn't it?
Because they've just put, like, Disney characters in all of the classic stuff now.
Everything's just themed around Frozen now.
Probably.
Tangled.
No,
Space-
Frozen is like the new big thing or whatever. Like all the little girls want Frozen birthday parties and stuff like that. It's bizarro.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Have you
Yeah,
seen it?
no.
No, I haven't seen it either.
My sister was telling me that it has something to do with like accepting homosexuality.
Oh.
There's subtext in all Disney and Pixar
I
films.
know, but I don't think
uh,
it's in like the Little Mermaid when you see the priest penis. Like I think it actually is supposed to teach you to be like accepting of everyone.
It's not just a weird hidden
Yeah, it's
Easter
not
egg.
like someone's
Oh,
been
okay.
like, I'm gonna draw a lesbian now.
that sounds
Someone
like,
will
I
find
thought you were
this
just
in
like
20 years.
just when you said that sounded like a Huffington Post article or something.
6 things
Well,
you wouldn't expect to find
yeah,
in Disney
clickbait.
films.
Yeah,
Yeah.
um,
BuzzFeed.
yeah, exactly.
Tangled was okay.
Did you see
I
that?
didn't see
Yeah,
that either.
I haven't
kind
seen
of
that.
have fallen off the Disney wagon.
I haven't seen any Disney 3D films for a while. Just
Well, you don't watch 3D films when I'm alone. Bombs.
Do you mean
no, I don't mean
CG
3D. I mean
films?
CG. Yeah,
Oh.
I mean Disney's like CG output, like Tangled and Frozen and that sort of thing.
Have you seen
Are they-
Brave?
No.
Josh really wanted to, and then I kind of futzed around, and then we missed it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I have the art books for all of these films, but have never seen them. So
Buy them and only watch the little pre-thing.
that is some of my. In fact, we watched Paperman the other day.
Oh, I loved that.
Yeah, that was-
You said that they've actually gone back to drawing now.
Well, it was a test of like new technology between like 2D and like blending 2D and 3D.
It was really cool.
That was before Frozen, wasn't it? Or
I don't have no idea.
yeah, it was. That was the short that they did before Frozen, or maybe it was Tangled or something. But yeah.
It
was good.
I mean,
It was- I thought
the
it was
nice
really
thing
good.
about like all these Disney characters and the fact that they're such money makers is that it does give little kids a way into like video games. Because my sister's kids have the Disney With the little figurines that you stick on the thing.
Oh,
the Disney Infinity,
Disney
yeah.
Infinity, yeah.
Yeah.
And they
That's because we
they were
bought
like,
it for them.
I know, but they were super into it.
Yeah.
I mean, like Jack was, and it was fun to watch him do it because he was, I mean, whatever. He was roughly like getting it, but it wasn't like it was so
Yeah.
hard that he couldn't get through it. But there was conversation and things happening around that were kind of like appropriate for adults, not like inappropriate for kids.
In the way that
but
a Pixar
adults,
film-
yeah, that
Yeah.
adults would kind of get and giggle at or whatever. So if you were watching your kids play, you'd both get some enjoyment out of it.
It's
like the
And Josh
Lego
was
movie.
playing.
Yeah.
Josh was playing with Jack, and I think that they both enjoyed that.
The thing that I found interesting was, I mean, he was, for a 5-year-old, or was he 6 at the time? Yeah, he was 6 at the time. But that was like his first video game, video game proper, so he was going through the developmental stages of figuring out like how an analog stick works, because he had mainly been playing iPad stuff.
Yeah.
This is the first thing he'd played
That's
with.
tricky.
This is the first thing he'd played with a control pad. But after about like an hour or two, he got it down pretty good.
But it was
like-
interesting that Sophie didn't, and then she had a lot of trouble navigating and running around on the screen. She'd get sort of like stuck in the corners and stuff like that, you know what I mean, and not be able to.
Though,
get
but
to
then
the next.
interestingly, she was way more into the creator side of things, whereas Jack wanted to play through the.
Yeah, and she didn't want any baddies ever, and would yell at Jack if he let the baddies.
Yeah, she
out,
just wanted to
stuff
like
that.
run around the world and like explore it, whereas he wanted to like he would like attack her.
Yeah.
During the it
That's-
was very antagonistic.
They're assuming gender roles.
Yeah, but not through any sort of.
But the other interesting
yeah.
thing I noticed is that they weren't really interested in playing with the figures. Like they weren't like playing with the little toys outside of putting them on the portal.
Yeah.
I think they found the fact you put them on the portal the cool thing. They weren't like taking them away or taking them to school.
Whoa, cool!
Yeah,
Like
which
an
I think,
advert.
which I think is the
Like
assumption
training.
that like the kids are like playing with the figures, and like I think some like dumb piece of plastic to kids is like exactly that. I mean, they're not articulated or anything. I don't
Yeah.
think they'd be interested in
I
playing with them or whatever. Like,
I also think that I noticed that when they were playing as characters that were human characters or human-like characters, like even the Monsters Inc. characters, stuff like that had legs and arms and that kind of thing, they were much more in control of it. But then there was a Cars one that just like blew their mind.
They had no,
That
like-
just didn't make sense to them.
they had no
So
internal
I
rules
wonder
for
if-
how a car moves in a video game.
Exactly.
They
They
never.
had no experience with cars really, and so it was just.
They couldn't
They were
figure
just
out.
crashing into stuff.
They couldn't
Yeah.
figure out that to make a car, that to make the players go forward, you push the human characters go forward, you push forward, but to make the car go forward, you hold accelerate.
Right, yeah.
Because I mean, they're 6; they don't know how cars work. They don't know that cars have an accelerator.
Yeah, that doesn't make...
Interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to them. So I think
Huh.
it's
And
a
they
weird.
couldn't. They also didn't get that like when you needed to like steer around a corner, you need to take your foot off the gas. You know, you need to like let go of the accelerator a little so you can take the turn. So they just sort of like spin out and crash into something, and then again get stuck, and then we have to get them out of that situation and move
Yeah.
them to where they wanted to go.
They probably found
And
that all frustrating.
I was just saying,
Yeah.
it was weirdly really like fine tuning. Sometimes you had to like get up a ramp, and the ramp was only just a tiny bit larger than the car, so you really had to be quite precise, and I thought that was really weird. Whereas in some of the ones, again, where there were human characters, there was a much larger gap for error. Although in the Incredibles one, there was some jumping and stuff like
It's
that.
because
that still
size.
sounded really
It's because like
hard.
the size of the world is sort of the same between the racing stuff and the character stuff. But in the racing ones, you're moving that much faster
Yeah, I guess that's true.
because it's like a track. So
Well, at least you didn't try and give them Portal or something.
yeah, we just bought the Minecraft, so we'll see how.
Dealing with dual analog sticks and then Portals
I can't
would
even do that.
Jack is
Yeah.
really. I mean, he's really into Lego, so I think if he can like stick with Minecraft in terms of moving around,
Yeah.
he hasn't played a first-person game before. So if he can like get that down, then I think he'll probably find that quite fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird watching people like
Learn
play a
how to
game who
video
have.
games?
Because it's different when you see like an adult playing a game for the first time because they have some. I mean, they again like an adult. If you were like, oh, you hold the accelerator to like move the car, that makes sense. But
And they
obviously-
understand momentum.
yeah, exactly, and like inertia and how
Yeah.
things move if they're heavy or light. Where
Yeah.
the kids are like learning that stuff in the real world for the first time as in a game. So it's interesting to me. Yeah. Video games for kids.
Yeah, I
They're,
think we
it's,
thought
a,
about
it's,
it. Like,
it's a whole thing now. Like,
do you reckon you would, one of the Traveller's Tales Lego games would be good for them? Or
yeah, I think actually they might have played. I think he watched his dad play Lego Star Wars.
Yeah, I think they played it together.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
But he is, you know, he is content to watch people play games almost as much as play them himself. Still,
So I always find that those games, they feel like they should be great for kids, but they're kind of weirdly complicated in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think that Jack was able to do some of the basic stuff, and then Matt would take over for the hard bits.
the other thing that's really that for kids as well is like it's really hard to explain to them why you can't do things in a game. Like they don't understand. I mean, because we know that like there are technical like development limitations of doing things.
Like,
but
why
like,
can't I go any further?
well, also
why
Sophie
do I
was-
fall off the edge?
Sophie was like, why can't I play as one of the Frozen characters in the story stuff?
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
we were
Another
like,
world.
so we were saying, well, you have to play as the Frozen characters in
the Frozen
in the
land.
in the Frozen like gameplay. I don't even know if that was out at the time or if there is
So
on.
I don't know if
We were like, oh, you can only play as her in the creator. So for her, not being able to play as the character she really wanted to, because all of
any of the
all of the
environments.
story stuff's quite masculine still.
Yeah.
It's very much like it's fighting and racing.
Yeah.
So it's quite like it's a bit like exclusionary to girls still, I think, in that respect.
Yeah.
I guess it's
Well,
something
I mean,
I don't know, I mean,
stereotypically anyway, I'm saying,
I don't know what would be a more feminine activity. I mean,
well, is there such a thing
Yeah.
even in that? I mean,
yeah,
but,
agreed. I'm
sorry,
just saying,
what I
don't
should have
know.
said is that it wasn't very appealing to her. The creator stuff she obviously is more into,
Right.
but
Yeah, and she really enjoyed like designing, so maybe it would have been that where you do things like you need to draw something or something like that. I'm not really sure.
yeah, so
Sure, one day get very
I mean, when
into
I
Little
was-
Big Planet
When,
creating.
I was to say when I was really little, I loved Mario Paint simply because I really liked to color.
but then also you were also more into like Zelda and like more traditional games as well.
Yeah, but I mean, I did play fighting games as well. Matt
Yeah.
would always call me into the room if he needed someone to beat the crap out of in Mortal Kombat. So I played tons of Mortal Kombat on PlayStation when I was
That's pretty much
growing
how we played it.
up. Except that you beat the crap out of Sam and then he said it wasn't fair. I heard that story.
That's how our Mega Drive. That's how the power switch to our Mega Drive got broken.
Was it with Mortal Kombat?
No, we
Was
were
it another
playing.
fighting
We were
game?
playing Street Fighter 2.
Oh, okay, yeah, I knew it was.
I was playing as Vega and he was playing as Ken. And I kept doing the boss. We were playing on the Spain stage, and I kept. When you play on the Spain stage, you can crawl up the. When you're playing as Vega, you can crawl up the wire mesh fence, and you can keep doing the Barcelona roll over and over again. And I was just totally punking him. So
Oh, that's so mean.
he eventually.
That isn't fair.
He eventually just threw the controller at the Mega Drive.
I don't know why I didn't throw it at you.
Yeah, I almost wish he had done because it made the next 3 years of turning our Mega Drive on and off a pain in the ass. Had to sort of dig your finger underneath the switch and move it over.
Weird.
It's really weird. He smashed our Game Gear screen as well playing Shinobi. Bang up job, literally, on both of those Sega systems.
Cool.
I know a game that isn't for kids.
I don't.
Well, I know a lot of games.
Learn me
Custer's
one.
Revenge!
Silent Hill?
Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah, that's, you
Gamers-
probably shouldn't have kids
There's,
in the room.
there's
to
too
play
much
that.
decapitation in that for
Yeah.
kids.
It's like Decap Attack.
Yeah.
I don't actually know what Decap Attack
It's
is.
a
It just came to
it's a
me.
Mega
It's
Drive
a-
game.
Oh, I was gonna say, it sounds like just a portmanteau for...
Decap Attack was the Mega Drive game you threw your head at the enemies. It was
Oh,
alright.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great idea for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, been playing Shadow of Mordor. That game's pretty good.
How far in it are you?
I don't know. I keep getting distracted and then...
That's the point.
Yeah, sort of just wading into 40 guys and then another 40 guys show up. So.
I do hear, honest to God, every 3 minutes, oh my God, he's on the list too! Oh my God, there's another one, he just came in. You're not running away, you asshole! I'm killing you now! There's just a constant litany of
Yeah.
murder.
I've done 2 missions,
Okay.
but I put 6 hours into it or something.
Have
so-
you triggered all of the towers?
No, I've barely done any game-related stuff. I really have just been. I've been running around and getting 4 or 5 captains on me at once, and then somehow managing to kill them all and getting runes.
Nice.
So I've tons and tons of runes, but I haven't unlocked enough rune slots to use them all yet
Oh well.
on my weapons. But that
Yeah.
game's really cool.
I can imagine that would be how you would play that game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very easily distracted in open world games.
Also, you really love to get into a situation where there's 30 baddies, and then you just have to fight your way out. I mean, you don't do sneaking. Sneaking is not one of your characters.
Why would you sneak when you are a unkillable sword man with a ghost elf inside you?
But you don't sneak when you are a super killable squishy guy. You're just I'm gonna go in and swing some swords around and we'll see what happens.
That's years of playing Warcraft as a rogue and getting really bored of sneaking around and just being like, I'm just going to stab people. And then dying and then
Straight
running
up
back and
stab
then trying to stab them again.
Did you ever play the Batman games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't play the last one, but
No,
I played Arkham Asylum
Asylum and
and
City.
Arkham City.
Did you finish? Yeah, of course you did. Yeah.
Those are great games.
Because you have to sneak in those kind of.
I know, and he hated it, and he
Yeah,
was a bitch about it.
but-
And Assassin's Creed. Why are they making me sneak when I could just run in and kill these guys? Because that is the point of the game, because he's a sneaky character.
But the thing is, though, is I like sneaking, but I like those games because if you get caught, you can fight your way out of the situation, which is why I don't
Not
like...
always in Assassin's Creed, because sometimes you'd fail the mission, and that would make you
Yeah,
furious.
yeah, that's the thing that I like more about Batman and Mordor that I don't really like about Assassin's Creed is the desynchronization thing if you don't do
There's a
things.
prescribed
You have to
way
stay in
of
this
doing
moving
it.
circle
And-
to eavesdrop. I
Yeah,
think that's terrible.
And even more so that the later games offer the optional objectives because I always feel sort of duty bound to do those,
Never do those.
and they nearly always involve
They're not fun.
they nearly always involve being super stealthy rather than super killy. But the optional objectives in Mordor seem fine.
Yeah, they're usually decent. They're just
Yeah.
like, kill 3 guys in the head with arrows.
Kill them in
Yeah.
the head.
Yeah.
Kill their
It's like,
heads.
well, I was going to do that anyway. Bonk, bonk, bonk.
Yeah, but I'm
And it just gives you like 50 extra monies or whatever.
Yeah.
Mordor bucks.
yeah. You're really good at getting
Buy
out
more
of.
hamburgers.
You're really good at getting. It's like Shadow of Burger Time.
Burger King now owns the brand.
Yeah. You
Pay in Whoppers.
But if you do need to run away, like, the enemies lose sight of you and forget where you are really easily. You just have to run around like 2
Isn't that
corners.
because they're stupid orcs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, where is he?
They all sound like cabbies. Somehow.
Yeah.
That game gives you so many options to like get out of a bad situation.
yeah.
So it's sort of fun to see how long you can stay in a really hairy situation for before just bailing.
Do you have the thing where you can shoot an arrow at a fire and then the fire goes?
Yeah, that's
fire?
good.
Because I just
I killed the
run near fires and then wait till the captain stands.
Yeah, I killed the captain that way. That
You
was
let
good.
the caribous go all the time. They're not caribous, I know. That's not the name.
Caribous?
Yeah, caribous.
Car-
Well, let's call them
caribous.
caribous.
I did the thing where I freed a slave and then he was immediately eaten by a character.
Yeah.
That happens quite a lot.
In one of those big ones where like I was fighting 4 captains or something, one of the captains started running and I was like, oh, I'll get him in the legs. So, he's immune to range. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine, I'll get him later. Then he got eaten by a caribou.
Yeah.
20 seconds later I was like, yes!
Yeah, it's pretty funny where you fight. It's like the first real captain that the game has you go and kill is that he's the guy who's the Caragor tamer who is afraid of Caragors.
Yeah.
And it's pretty funny when you let it out of the cage and it's like chasing him down and you know.
I do find that everywhere you go in that world, there's people freaking out about Caragors. They go, oh, it's a Caragor!
Yeah, it's-
oh no!
It's like
Caragors!
it's the thing that gets talked about in that world a lot.
Yeah.
It's like next time I see one, I'm gonna ride it. You're like, okay,
Yes, that conversation happens a lot.
yeah,
Have they started talking about the Grave Walker?
the Grave Walker,
Yeah.
kill them all.
That Ranger.
Man, I bet being that one of the orc voice actors is fun.
Yeah.
You just be gross and just talk about murdering.
And hunger. They're always friggin' hungry.
Yeah.
Why do we have to stay here? I'm hungry. I want to go do something else.
I think you've just
All the
described
time.
every single like piece of NPC flavor text from a stealth game.
Must have been rats.
It's like, I was going to say, I don't know why they make us wear these ridiculous ties.
That's not the right
As
game.
Gordon Freeman stabs him through the heart.
Yeah. They
Half
talk
like,
about grog a lot as well. Like.
yeah, they do. It's a bit piratical, the
Yeah.
whole thing. Get piratey-ness from it.
Well, I guess, I mean, you could see that orcs are similar to pirates in the sense that they're, like, dumb and unclean, and they mostly just are interested in pleasures.
And scurvy is a problem.
Yeah. That's why they're all hunched
No
over.
bananas in Mordor.
That I found.
Yeah.
Um,
One of 99 banana
Man.
pickups.
Yeah. And there's already a lot of pickups in that game.
Can you throw the
Yeah.
banana and then they just, like, spin out? The orcs?
Yeah. How are you finding it many more hours in than I am?
I'm 12 hours in. I play games completely differently to you, so I've basically cleaned up the entire first map, and I think I'm about to leave. I think you can come back or whatever, but I've
Yeah.
killed all the war chiefs and stuff.
Wait, there's another area beyond...
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was like the whole game world.
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
At the bottom, there's a thing that's like the gate, and apparently beyond there's more map.
That's so weird.
Because, I was like, wait, why are all these things... Because you go to the progress screen and everything had hit roughly half. It's like, oh, I've got half of every type of pickup, I've done half of every mission. What the heck's going on? It's like, oh wait, there's another half of the game.
Yeah. Oh, that's weird. Do you know if the other half of the world like looks significantly different, or
I think it might...
it's more Middle-earthy? Or a little more even more
No,
Mordor-y?
it's greener.
Mordorian.
I think it might actually technically be Gondor.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I'm not sure if that makes any sense. I'm just guessing here. So,
Yeah.
But it does say the Black Gate, and that would lead out to not Mordor.
Yeah, that would basically be the other side of where they are at the end of Return of the King.
Yeah.
When they're on the other side of the Black Gate. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what. But I mean that specific immediate
Yeah.
area.
Oh, right, the field.
Because the Black Gate's built by Gondorians, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To sort of keep the
Yeah, they're all...
bad crap out of.
But it doesn't make any sense. Like, I would have structured that game the other way around. Where
Yeah, you would go into Mordor.
and then eventually you'd go up Mount Doom or whatever. That would be like the
Man.
end sequence.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be the end
Yeah,
sequence.
yeah.
But,
I think if I was going to design another one of these games, which clearly they're going to because this has been really successful, I think the Middle Earth name stays, but I think you need to obviously not be in Mordor anymore because it's a bit.
it's very muddy.
What else do you do with that? I think of all of the Lord of the Rings areas, I'd like to spend some time in like Rohan.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would be really cool.
Well, maybe you should play what's it called? Lord of the Rings Online, because there's a heck of... The last two
So-
expansion packs have been two halves of Rohan.
I like games that are enjoyable though, so I'll probably not do that.
Don't you think that they'd have to expand it and sort of cover lots of the areas so that people... Because, I mean, they're obviously capitalizing on how much people enjoyed the movies, and then they get to re-realize those areas and you get to go through those areas and actually be a participant. So wouldn't they have to do lots of the different... they wouldn't just do Gondor and they wouldn't just do Rohan. They'd go up and they would go to, they might even do, like, underground and stuff like that in Mithril.
Do you mean like in one game?
No, I'm just saying, like, they'll probably produce multiple games to cover multiple areas because it's such a rich world and everyone has their own favorite bits and pieces of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I can see them doing that, but like,
And who doesn't want to fight a Balrog firsthand?
you can't fight the Balrog. It has to be like you have to fight something that like hasn't been covered in any of the films. So
They
that
haven't
it's,
made a Gandalf game.
man, that'd be great.
I mean,
Shadow of
you have to
Gandalf.
be a ridiculous wizard for that to work.
The thing is, though, anything that you would do with Gandalf would have to be like super boring because it would have to be like before The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Because basically, like all of the interest, because they're never going to cover the content of the books or the films directly, are they?
Yeah.
Well, but you could do it in between The Hobbit
Plays Radagast.
and Lord of the Rings because he goes away for a really long time and he's doing shit. What is he doing then?
In what in?
In between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings because he just comes back and visits. We don't know what he's doing then.
That's not that much time. That's only like 100 years or something. I suppose that's quite a long time actually.
Things can happen in 100 years.
Yeah. Smoking pipeweed.
That's the weird thing about... I've played way too much of Lord of the Rings Online, and the way they fit you into that world is you're always about a few days behind the events of the books. And
Yeah, it's weird. You were like...
It's like, oh, well, yeah, Boromir just came through here, yesterday.
I remember I played...
You're cleaning up all the messes that they left.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember playing it when it around the time it first came out, and the first thing you do is you go to the Prancing Pony, and it's like a day before the Fellowship arrive there or something.
You're always just missing... You do catch up with them at some point. So
Yeah.
It's like... they stay at Rivendell for like a week or something, so you do kind of catch up with them for a bit.
You carry some pies to some part of Hobbiton or something.
But unless you're specifically making like the Two Towers game where you play through the events of the Two Towers movie, like they did, then you kind of have to.
I think
build it around that
from
stuff.
my point of view, like Rohan would offer like a really interesting like environment because it's
But I don't know. I mean, you could be
quite different
talking
from
about things
Mordor.
that are happening simultaneously that are not covered in the books or the films because we don't see everything happening all at once. I mean, it is chronologically. They visit this place, then they visit this place, then they visit this place. So what are the things that are happening beforehand? But instead of it being, oh, they were just here and having it be about them, it's actually about the world itself.
what's Galadriel doing all the other
Yeah.
times? They're not it.
I think if anything,
Doing elf shit.
I think if
That's what she's
anything,
doing.
Mordor sort of has highlighted that it sort of doesn't matter because the game's really good.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you make another game where you stick to having this nemesis system, or you try and you have to do something else with that to make it interesting.
But I
Or
mean,
maybe you just do exactly the same thing and
Yeah.
make the graphics better because it's
Yeah.
a video game company. Sadly.
Also, like you.
but I don't think you have to have the fellowship involved in order for it
No,
to be
you
successful.
don't. Well,
People are just obsessed with the world. That's why The Hobbit's doing so well.
Well, this is the weird thing about the rights for this game, because it seems like, I mean, this is like movie rights, but they seem to be almost going out of their way not to touch any characters.
Yeah.
Gollum seems to be the only real thing that they've included from the films directly.
Wonder if it's because Christopher Tolkien is weird.
Yeah, he sounds like a nutcase
Yeah.
in terms of this estate and what can and can't be used, but...
What else have you been playing recently?
We played some Forza
Yeah, we played some Forza.
online. That was good.
Yeah.
I like that. I just feel like I haven't put enough time into it yet to really like. Well, it really is a lot like the first game.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
A lot.
You drive. You drive cars.
You drive cars, and
It's kind of a festival, but they
Yeah.
toned down that bit.
yeah,
A bit.
I'm not sure I like the environment as much as the first game.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, but look at these cool cars, mate!
Oh my god! Like
God.
they have somehow made the characters like the douchiest. Like I don't know whether it like. It plays more to like a US audience that guy doesn't seem as much of a wanker as he is, but oh my god, he just seems like the worst, like sort of like East London wanker.
But even the girl mechanic, like, ooh, it's a girl mechanic, but then she's kind of like a tool bag. You're just a bit like...
yeah, she's a mechanic.
But she's just not intelligent. She's like, ooh, wait until I get this beauty into the shop. And you're like, that's so fucking trite that, like, I could have written that in my sleep.
She basically speaks and acts like a dude, but
Yeah,
has
but
a
has
female
boobies.
voice and body, so it doesn't really...
Pretty hard to get a new engine for this, baby.
Yeah, and she calls her "Let's get her in the shop." It's like, I don't think any woman would ever talk about a car as being a her, because that
And
just
even
seems
if they
very
do,
strange.
again, it's super, super trite. Like, it's just so overdone when a woman's hanging out with the boys and she's actually like
Yeah.
the smart and technical one, and it's just like, oh,
that is
so
actually
tired.
that stuff I was finding like borderline offensive.
Fortunately, it
That stuff
largely
is-
stops happening after like the first couple
Yeah,
of
that
hours.
that stuff is so sidelined, like after a little while, but
Yeah.
I wish that they didn't. You don't need characters in that game, or like
No, not really.
the other thing we were talking about the other day was that you're automatically a dude. Like driving the car,
you're
so
that
it's
one
like,
dude.
to not even like offer a female character model, like just I don't
Or
care. If
other
it's,
races.
I
or
don't care if
whatever.
it's like customized or anything, but like yeah, you're a white dude with brown hair. It's like
Well,
come on.
The annoying thing is, like, people, like, it's a very nice looking game with a photo mode, but that dude is in almost every single photo, because he's there sitting in the desk.
Yeah, that's like you really couldn't come up with like 6 character models to cover different gender and races just to come on.
ages,
You up?
different ages would be
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, everyone in that game is 20-something.
Yeah.
There are only 20-somethings in Europe. That's it. Everyone else is fucked off to, I don't know, Florida?
Yeah, you're either in like Southern Europe or you're in Boca Raton. There's nowhere else.
The structure, the single player structure in the game is kind of bothering me a bit, because there's like 28 championships, which comprise of 4 races.
4 races, yeah.
At each of 6, there's like 700 races or something in
Yeah.
that game. But,
Yeah, because it's for each class of car, isn't it?
but they're not like, there's no progression order. Like, you can actually pick to do any of them, like, from, like, the 4th one or something.
Yeah.
And as a result, the difficulty curve is flat. Like,
Yeah, I found that as well, actually. Like, I'm not
all
finding...
identically difficult.
I'm not finding any races challenging. I'm coming first every time.
But
Yeah.
don't they already make that happen to a certain extent anyways, because you can just rewind?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't the game
That really
more-
bothers you, doesn't it?
Well, no, but I mean, I just think that it's not particularly difficult. I know you can only
Yeah.
rewind so far, so if you're really, really, really shit, you're just really shit. But if you just make a slight error, you're not penalized for it in any meaningful way. So don't you automatically start to mess with the difficulty? I mean, how do you make a race more difficult if you can always sort of backtrack?
The game seems to really want you to focus on getting a good score, but ultimately that's totally meaningless.
But
Because it's like, oh, keep your like chain up because then you level up, but you get like you get like experience from doing the tiniest things, and you can do as much of it as you want. So
You're often building a chain completely unaware of what you're doing to build it. It's like, oh, great miss, and you're like, well.
But like punishing you by taking away that is like the wrong approach because it's meaningless.
But you can disable the rewind function, and you get like a higher multiplier on your experience. And
but I don't know that people would actually do that. I'm sure there are diehards that do, but most people are just going to be like, well, I'll rewind.
I think that
if you fuck up like at just before the finish line of like an 8-minute race, like it's annoying to have to go back and
definitely.
do it,
But what I'm saying is then how do you increase the difficulty? I'm legitimately asking,
I think the design.
What do you think that you do design-wise?
I think the design, like the way to solve that design, is to ration or portion out the rewinds in a way that you earn a rewind from doing a skill chain or something. Like I think there's a.
Does it then become more difficult because the courses become more difficult?
But they don't. That's the thing.
No, but I'm saying if it did, the courses would become more difficult. Then it would be harder to get chains. Therefore, it would be harder to get rewinds. Is that what you're saying? That would be the new difficulty curve.
No, I just think that you would start with. I think you would start with no rewinds, and then throughout the race, by doing certain things, because I mean, honestly, like you don't really need to use a rewind until like closer to the end of the race.
Yeah, I guess it's not need to. Use
I was going to say I don't use them that often. It's
but usually you get. I get past the first place car like about halfway round or about like 25% into the thing, and I just don't see them for the entire rest of the race.
So making it more difficult, like making the opponents more difficult, would also make it more difficult. Okay.
Well, I think as well that this game doesn't seem to have any sort of rubber banding or catch up at all.
Yeah,
which is, I mean,
that's cool.
It seems like.
I hate that stuff.
I hate that as well, but it's at the expense of making the game. I think racing game AI is hard.
It is really hard.
Like, I don't know how you solve that problem without. I mean, I don't know anything about AI programming or how.
Well, they just make it.
Yeah.
While you're not looking, it goes. Whoop!
Yeah. But what I mean is, I know how rubber banding works, but I mean, like, how do you solve that issue and make it more realistic? Because obviously, in real racing, there is more. The cars are close together.
The one thing that happened in the first one was like you get your car that qualified for the event. It would be like a
Ford Focus
547 or something.
Yeah,
and you'd race
Nissan Skyline.
You'd race and like you'd be racing against cars which are all at like the top of the band, and you'd be like, oh no, I can't do this now. They're all too fast and too grippy or whatever. I have to go and like improve my car to get it in line. But in this one, all the other cars that race along with you are exactly 547 or whatever your one is. Like they precisely balance it all. And then when you upgrade all the other cars are now the highest spec races. So it's they've just found their one difficulty, and
so basically
I think I need to fiddle with the difficulty.
It's a bit like playing an Elder Scrolls game and everything levels up with you, so the bandits are like decked out like fabulous thieves with glass armor and stuff no matter where you go.
Yeah. Because all this Daedric armor, mate.
In a sort of way that's illogical.
I think it looked good though.
Yeah, it's a really nice looking game.
Hot hatches.
I like the idea of playing this game and doing all the tuning and stuff.
I don't.
And then at some point you're like, I'm not getting enough out of the feeling of a tuned car that it's worth it.
Is tuning like twinking?
Tuning's just getting a better engine or whatever.
I know what I mean, like putting things in and taking things out so that it's like twinking.
Yeah, it's like you min-max the car's abilities basically. So, but the thing is, because Forza is like this like crossover between being a simulation and an arcade game, you can either tweak, like, you can change your air filters or your engine or your exhaust or your gears or whatever.
Tire camber.
Yeah, tire camber or like tire width and all. You can change the minutiae of your car. What you can also do is like, this is a B-class car, press this button to pay some money and make it a S-class car.
Yeah.
And that basically figures out the best possible configuration for your car to make it to the top echelon of that class.
Yeah, if it had a slightly better mirror.
It seems like there's no downside to doing that whatsoever, apart from the fact that you might be someone who enjoys the feeling of tweaking the car.
Yeah,
I guess maybe they're trying to appeal to the people, to the spreadsheeters of the gaming.
But I think they are. But it doesn't. The game doesn't make you feel rewarded for doing that. I think it's just in the game because it's in Forza 5, which
It just
sort of
comes free
does
with it.
reward you more.
And they've had to come up with all of the different components. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they've paid. At some point, they paid for like all those rim manufacturers to be in the game. So
Yeah.
even though that's like a cosmetic thing,
I don't know what tire camber is best for, like, driving through an actual vineyard. But
I don't know what tire camber really is. I sort of understand. So
it might have made it up. That might not
which
actually be right.
car is best for ploughing through some poor farmer's vineyard? And
hitting every single lamppost
Yeah.
on your way through the city.
yeah, we found that game is a cafe murdering simulator.
That's what that multiplayer says.
I think my favorite.
Just stop dead in the middle of a race to take out an entire cafe.
I think my favorite is that Josh almost always gets the clean start award and then immediately runs into something but not just like runs into something, like destroys the car, runs into something.
I get distracted by the clean start bonus, so I like barrel into a fence. I'm like, yeah.
Daredevil.
Yeah.
right into the side of a building. Whatever.
Yeah. Laurie, what have you been playing?
I only play iPad games at the
That's
moment.
fine. That's good because we don't.
Video
I've
games.
just been grinding.
I have an iPad.
I've essentially just been grinding another freaking like RPG game. That's all I do.
You basically found one of the more hardcore experiences possible on a tablet platform.
But I mean, it is pretty much everything that I've always played.
What game is it?
It's Battleheart.
Battleheart Legacy, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Battleheart Legacy.
Yeah.
But it is. I mean, it's Zelda. It's WoW. It's all of.
It
the
seems
same
like
stuff.
every time I see you playing it, it looks like Diablo.
Yeah.
Like a Diablo style game, like a sort of loot driven
Running around.
run around
I'm
hitting
not. I was to
things.
say at the moment I'm not running around. I'm just going into a continuous battle area called the Coliseum. That's just a endless. Grind
Is it basically
until
grinding for
get
loot? Are you
killed.
grinding for loot?
No, I'm grinding for XP.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you, like, got through most of the content? in the
Oh yeah,
game?
there's only one. There's only the last boss, and like, I read about it online a lot because I like went and I tried to fight him, and like I didn't get his health bar down at all, and I just immediately died, and I was like, all right, this is ridiculous. I don't know what to do. And everyone's like, all right, you gotta get all of the gold gear, and then you just have to keep leveling your character until you're like some obscene level, and then you can go. So I did that. I'm like. The last boss that isn't the last boss, so the whatever, penultimate boss, is like level 29, and I'm now like 53 or something like that.
Oh wow.
Should be able to take it.
Yeah, so I went in and I got him about halfway down. It was probably only a couple minutes that I was playing, like 3 or 4, but unfortunately he has this ability where a circle goes around him, and if you're standing in that circle, you're dead. That's it. He like sends out a
It's like an AoE.
shockwave.
It's like an AoE thing.
Yeah, exactly, and it's instant death.
Oh.
But there are he brings in other mobs, whatever, he conjures mobs or whatever. Plus, I've got my own help fighting, so I get stuck between characters. And because you have to tap another place to run away,
Right.
and sometimes it's through them, you can't get out of the circle fast enough. Like, you just can't. So I just end up dying, and it's really, really frustrating. It's not, I mean, like, I don't know if it's because I'm like a casting class or whatever, but I'm sure if I was an actual, like, I had to go up and punch in class, I'd be screwed because I'd constantly be having to run away. So it's just that just pisses me off because I feel like I'm not being rewarded for all of the effort I put in because it's so easy to just get caught up in the furniture or the bodies.
Could you pay your way out of this hole, or
No.
there's no microtransactions in this game?
No, not at all.
It's quite impressive that it's so like it's balanced in that way.
Yeah, I've put like tons of hours into it.
Because
now,
that would be
tons of hours.
that would be the kind of game. Because I was playing, is it Spellfall
Yeah.
for a while, and that game's totally broken.
But you need to pay money.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like you need to pay a shit ton of money in it. But it sounds like this is weird because
Yeah, this has actually been hard the whole way through. And again, like reading on forums and stuff like that, everyone's had the same experience where it will say that you're level 8 and then you go into a level 8 area and you just get wiped and you're like, what the shit? So I've always been like 3 or 4 levels above before I go into an area so I can kind of like survive. And you only get 5 potions to heal yourself. And then, you gotta run away or die. So it's always been on the difficult side, which has made me put more hours into it. And sometimes it was frustrating because like, I had to go and replay stuff 5 or 6 times just so I could move up a level.
Yeah.
Because there's this weird, it's like, you can get up to like level like 13 and there's just shit all over the map. But then after that, it's like 1 or 2 places every couple levels. So you have to do a lot of grinding to get up there. I don't know. I mean, I really like it just as a game, so that doesn't really bother me. But I think that it probably would be upsetting for other people.
What's your plan for beating this boss? Like, is it just an execution thing at this point?
Yeah,
or...
I think I'm just gonna have to, like, go in there and be lucky. But one of the reasons I'm grinding is because I want my spells to be more powerful. And every time you level, you get 3 points that you can spend, and I'm trying to spend them all in raising my ability to crit strike.
Right.
So if I can max out, well, I'm not max out, whatever. If I get my crit strike so high that I'm critting him all the time, I can take away huge amounts of damage, and I'll just battle him for a shorter amount of time, and therefore I'll be, I won't get into the situation where I get stuck in the AoE.
Because on a long enough timeline, you just are so squishy that you have no chance of surviving his AoE.
Yeah.
Is there any merit in, like, taking out the additional mobs when they come in so they don't...
Yeah, and I do, and I have my whatever summoned characters take out those characters as well, and they create mobs for me. Like, I can raise them from the dead, so they can go and attack him, which is great because then I can be dealing damage just to him and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a little bit of chaos.
Sounds like you just...
It's also on a small screen, which makes a difference because there's fire over here, and there's wind over here, and there's mobs everywhere, and it's hard to kind of like keep track of.
You're playing this on an iPad Mini with a Retina display, so it's a little smaller than. Your like interest in this game and like the fact that you've like stuck with it, even though it's like really hard, has like been really making me think about what other like games that you would enjoy, like console games.
Well, I mostly like towers and RPGs. I mean, those are the types of things that I like. But that being said, like, I loved Plants vs Zombies, and I still play it. I still play the original one, but I played Plants vs Zombies 2, and I was just like, meh. So I don't know. I mean, it has to have some sort of special magic.
I am like absolutely convinced that you would really like Diablo 3.
I really like that cat game.
Which cat game?
Where you have, like, the triangle head, or the square head, or the one where we throw each other around.
Oh, Battle Block Theatre.
Yeah, because that's pretty much for, like, a parent and a child, so Josh just helps me out.
Yeah, that's a really good co-op game. But I think, like, Diablo's, like, has all of the, like, loot hooks into it, and it basically is like Battleheart, but, so, like, the barrier of entry is relatively low in terms of, like, the gameplay, like, what you're doing moment to moment, but it's somewhat more substantial. I think like the co-opness of it would be quite fun.
I think that like you'd like it, Battlefield Legacy. I think that you'd probably get through it much more quickly than I did, just because again you're much more experienced than I am or whatever. But it is like a really packed game. I mean, it's super full of stuff, and I don't even know what I paid for it, but it wasn't that much because I can't imagine that I paid more than like £5 for a game. Versus I bought Tengami, which is utterly beautiful. But it had, like, 3 chapters, and it took me probably, like, an hour and a half to play, and I paid £3 for it. So, like, just value for money-wise, like, comparing them side by side.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like Battleheart is way much more worth it.
Tengami's really, like, narrative.
With Tengami.
It's really, like, narrative-focused, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's all about, like, the art of it, and it is really beautiful, but everything's relatively easy to do. It's just a puzzle solver. But it was kind of just like, oh, that was it? Oh, right.
They should probably make more.
Yeah.
Just funny, because Tengami is more of, like, the traditional, what I expect from a tablet game experience now, which is that it's relatively short, has, like, a really nice art style. But Battleheart's, like, it's, like, pretty hardcore for, like...
Yeah.
Especially this, like, sorts of, like, tablet games you and I usually play.
Yeah.
Which are, like, usually, like, adventure games or, like, a puzzle game with a sort of repetitive mechanic.
Story game.
Yeah.
You know what iPad game I'm super looking forward to?
What iPad game?
The Room 3.
Wait, did they announce it?
Yes!
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Awesome. Yeah, I love
Absolutely.
those. Those games are so good.
I want to play
I want to play The Room 3 right now.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I said I want to play Framed. It's by Love Shack. I guess they're based in Australia now, but one of them's Australian, one of them's English, and one of them is something else. But they have been working on this game for like 2 or 3 years now, and they were going to release it, and then they pushed it back, and then they pushed it back, and then they pushed it back.
They've won an IGF award, I think.
It looks gorgeous and so much fun to play, and it's a puzzler, so that means that you don't necessarily have to be good at it. And so I just really... but they just keep pushing it back. It's supposed to be out this December
Frames.
now.
It reminds me of
Where you
that.
have to move the,
Yeah, did you ever play
story
that?
around.
Did you ever play that game, Continuity, I think it was
Yeah.
called, where you had the little guy and you were like running between frames and you could
Yeah,
slot
between
around.
pictures
I
and
mean,
stuff.
this is that, but like with a narrative
But
focus.
it's a puzzler now.
Yeah.
So, but the thing that they just did to it, or the reason that they've held off, is because they've made it so that there's not only one answer.
Right. Oh.
And so they've actually put, like, reading their blog, I might be getting it wrong, but they just wanted to make sure that, like, they had a full story and it all made sense, and that sometimes something that logically should work actually does work, instead of it only being, you know, like, that one
Because it would be
linear
really
thing.
easy to make that game and have there be one solution.
Yeah, but
And it'd
they've
be-
done
and not
it
be
so
any
that
fun.
they've done it. So they went back and sort of like redid the whole thing and filled in gaps and stuff like that. So now I'm even more excited about it. But they just won't release it.
It's like in adventure games where, like, people use their creativity to come up with solutions that the designers didn't account for, and you're like, well, logically that would work.
Yeah, exactly. And then
but-
you're just really
yeah.
annoyed.
So it's good to take that feedback and actually implement
That's
it.
such a hard thing to develop for, especially with a small team of like all of the things that should work logically don't, because making anything logical work means like asset generation and like
Yeah.
coding,
Well, it's
all of the possibilities that
I was
people
gonna say,
might come
it's
up with.
being
And,
it's being all of your players.
Yeah.
And that must be insanely hard.
yeah. Like, I can imagine that's the kind of game you have to like focus test the shit out of to like really understand how people are going to approach it.
It's the reason why the Phoenix Wright games can be really irritating, because you don't... There's one piece of evidence that satisfies the
Yeah, I
narrative.
found
That's
that.
when you-
I found that really. I started
Yeah.
playing it, and I found that I kind of.
You're set, like a few steps ahead of where the characters are. In
Yeah,
the story.
exactly.
Yeah.
I was playing the second murder, I guess, so when his boss gets murdered. And you have to go and you have to interview the lady that was in the hotel or whatever. And then, like, you couldn't bribe her into opening up the drawer. And I'm just like, but you should totally have just looked in the drawer while she was in the toilet. Why didn't you look in the drawer? Like, it was
Yeah.
right there, do it, look in the drawer.
Those-
And then you have to go somewhere else and then come back and then you sneak in and look at the drawer. And I was just like, I don't know.
It's
Get
just
in the damn drawer!
it's because the root of those games is they're more like visual novels than games.
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah, I did find it hard as well because I picked the wrong piece of evidence, and then I couldn't go back and afterwards I couldn't go back and be like, oh, I knew what it was. I need to do that thing.
Yeah.
Like, and so I would have had to play through the entire first case again in order to.
Yeah.
It was literally the last question.
Oh, right.
It was the one where you're standing outside and the guy's really upset because, you know, his girlfriend just got murdered and you're supposed to make him feel better or whatever. And I picked the wrong piece of evidence because I was like, I don't get it. And then as soon as I clicked on the wrong thing, I was like,
Oh.
shit, I know exactly what it was supposed to have been. But I
Yeah.
couldn't, like...
you need the
go
rewind
back.
function
I
from
do,
Forza.
I do.
What happened if you didn't get that right?
He just kind of was like, oh, it's alright, man. And then your boss scolds you and says, that's why evidence is really, really important. Don't screw up again. And you're just like,
Yeah, all of the Phoenix Wright cases end with kind of like, oh, well, this is the one thing that will make you feel a bit better about all of
yeah,
your...
Yeah.
exactly. And
I feel like there's
It's a samurai.
that game somewhere between that game and Professor Layton is like ripe for us for some kind of reinvention as an iPad game, but I don't know what that would be. Maybe that already exists and I don't know what it is. But I really want to like Professor Layton and Phoenix Wright. I know they're not the same, but they have some similar. You know, elements to them. But
Well, it leads me to... I get so frustrated with both of those games that I kind of end up playing with like
With a FAQ open.
With a FAQ open.
yeah,
Yeah, well, the problem with Layton is that sometimes they're literally, like,
maths.
tricks.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you're not supposed to, like, do a thing, or you're supposed to... I don't know, it just pisses me off when, like, they've misled me purposely. I feel really cheated.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I'm just not clever enough to think of those things or whatever, but then that makes me really mad.
Yeah.
Because I feel clever, and I should be clever, but I can't figure out those things. And damn them!
games empowering you and making you feel smart are like sort of far and few between. I think I don't play too many of those. When you do, you really notice it. You're like, wow, this game makes me feel like I'm good at it in particular.
If you ever played through the Portal 2 multiplayer, I don't think you did you?
No, I didn't play that.
But that made you feel like some sort of super genius.
Yeah.
You figured it out.
It's a bit
And
like
that happens with Portal itself, though, because
Yeah, yeah.
especially in the second one, where there was sometimes where you had to like paint a certain wall white and then put your portal through it, and
Yeah.
then but then another wall would have to be painted white, and you'd actually have to like go into another room and paint that wall. Like, and then when you solve that puzzle, you're just like, damn
It's
good.
any game where any game that allows you to come back the next day after bashing your head against it for hours and then just do it straight away because
Yeah.
you've been thinking about it away from the game. Like
You had a
it's-
dream about it.
Yeah, or it's like the cognitive version of a game like Meat Boy or Spelunky, where you sort of become like a maven of moving around the world, and you get really attuned to it. So everything you do that's good, you feel really like empowered by it. And
It was like the week I could play Shovel Knight and completion, but
you lose your muscle memory at doing
Yeah.
well at those games.
if I tried to play like the last level of that game now, I'd be completely utterly screwed.
Actually, Mordor makes me feel like I'm good at it. Like, because when I was playing the other day and I literally fought off 80 guys, including 4 captains, and killed them all.
Yeah.
I remember I said to Laurie, like, I feel like I'm really good at this game. And I don't know whether everyone has that experience or, like, the game's good at making me feel like I'm good at it.
Well, the combat's an interesting one because you don't actually need to. You never need to mash.
No, the reversal window's really big.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in Batman, like, I'm not very good at the combat in Batman. I'm terrible at it.
Yeah.
I usually end up like swinging away and trying to like just pick people off, and then I go to the rooftops and then pick people off. Whereas this, I'm like just getting the most ridiculous like 50 hit chains and executing guys. And
One of the sword the sword side quest. I don't know if you even have.
yeah, I've done a bow one and a sword one.
The optional quest was to get the battle chain up to 100, and when I first started doing it, I was like, that's insane. I'm
sounds
never going to
crazy.
do that. But by the time I finished the mission, I'd actually got up to 187.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, Y, X, B.
yeah.
You can be relatively.
It's
calm about
very rhythmic compared to. I forget what other game it was. I think Sleeping Dogs had quite a big reversal window as well that made me enjoy the combat a bit more. Batman doesn't feel very rhythmic; it feels sort of like urgent. Whereas Mordor, Sleeping Dogs, that reversal window gets you into like that sort of,
To rewind the conversation a bit, the fact thing.
I feel like this rewinding's become like a theme.
What I usually do in those games is when I come up with my solution, instead of checking in the game, I check in the fact. It's like, oh, I think it's B. Yep. Okay. Because I don't like the way the games punish you for getting it wrong in the game.
Yeah.
I like to. Yeah, it's just like, oh, you lose all these picker-outs.
You don't want to feel like the game
bar goes down.
You don't want to feel like the game's an exam, and that
Exactly.
you're being like, whacked over the head for doing something wrong.
Because to run out of judge juice in the Phoenix Wright things, and it's like, oh no, guilty or whatever. And then you have to restart from like a save point like 30 minutes ago. It's not fun. So
Yeah. But I again, like, I want to like those games because the world and the characters are so charming.
yeah,
But, man, I barely got into Professor Layton before it just really pissed me off.
I feel a bit like that with Costume Quest at the moment. Like, I know I'm going to get to the point where I get into it and really like it, but right now I'm just a bit like...
the first one.
Yeah, like, Josh was like, oh, you really need to download this. And it is. It's really fun and clever, but... And it's totally a Zelda game because you can literally, like, walk around and knock down all the trash cans or hit it's swiping away the grass for your rupees, which I absolutely love. But I don't know.
And it's
like,
a Double Fine game, so it's charming as hell.
I just haven't gotten into it yet. I haven't wanted to go back to it yet. And
Well,
I don't know if that's because I've got other stuff going on.
Well,
at the
Costume
moment,
Quest
but-
2 just came out, so,
Yeah, I was going to say.
it's a good month to play it anyway.
Yeah, the problem with that game is that the combat is a bit dull.
Repetitive. I find that with a lot of the small Double Fine games is that they're not quite. The idea is really good, but they're not quite refined enough to. Double Fine games always feel quite rough to me.
Yeah.
There's something about the way they're developed where you're like, man, this is really charming, and the concept of the game's so clever, and the story's really interesting, but just somehow it
Doesn't
never
come all the way together.
Like Double Fine games never feel very good. Like I a couple of months ago, I started playing Iron Brigade.
Oh yeah.
After it was free on Xbox Live, and I really like the idea of a tower defense game that's also like a third-person shooter, but it just doesn't feel good to play. Like the loop, like the combat loop and what you're doing and everything moment to moment is really cool, but it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, that game always looked interesting, but I never.
You can salute with the analog stick.
Yeah,
That's cool.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Analog saluting.
Yeah.
You could get different salutes, right?
But I have a lot of respect for their games, and Massive Chalice looks cool.
I never get into those games.
Definitely looks cool, but
I have this history of like every 3 or 4 months I'll attempt to play XCOM, and then I've forgotten how to play it, so I start
Yeah.
over, and I get 4 hours in, and then I stop playing, and then I wait 4 months and have a go. I just can't do it. I can't stop.
And again, like, everything about hack and slash looks amazing, but
No,
I don't want to
no.
play it.
I don't want to play that game either.
Like,
Is that even a Double Fine game? I thought they just published it or something.
oh, did they?
I don't know.
Double Fine are publishing some other stuff as well that they haven't developed, but I
Yeah.
forget what else it was. It was something that had been announced a while ago, and it's Gang Beasts.
Oh yeah.
Double Fine are publishing Gang
Oh, maybe
Beasts.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe it's what we were talking about with the player cup.
Yeah, like
It's kind of like a toddler fighting.
yeah, I
game,
played
isn't it?
Gang Beasts a while ago. Like,
Drunken Toddlers.
yeah, it's
That's what
just
it looks
it's
like.
so chaotic. It's so much fun.
Is it like that game where there was a game that you guys played. I don't remember what it was. It's the one where he's like, it's the space aliens. And he says, Space Marines. Isn't that like chaotic? And isn't there tons of shit going on? There's some game that you're playing where you guys are in space and there's literally just shit flying everywhere, but I can't think what it is now.
Not Space Marine. That's just a third-person shooter.
Oh, I don't know.
What kind of game was it?
I don't remember. I just remember seeing on the screen there were just like millions of mobs.
Could be the time that we played Spelunky multiplayer in an
No,
empty
but that
room
was
with 100
amazing.
lives each.
Oh yeah.
That was amazing.
That was fun.
I didn't actually
I have never heard
realize.
you guys laugh so much.
I didn't actually realize how fun Spelunky's multiplayer was until
Yeah.
Throwing bombs.
getting the Bowie knife and like
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, just the shields
Yeah.
slamming someone.
Spelunky's
Swinging
multiplayer
forward.
is like very seldom referenced by anyone, but man, it's so much fun.
Yeah, that's actually
It's
real good.
ridiculous. I could play like competition grade Spelunky multiplayer.
We should do some of the couch co-op stuff. Like
Yeah.
what's that one with where it's like Prince of Persia?
What, an Xbox Live game?
Yeah,
Is
it was
it?
a recent one where you're just sword fighting and one of you.
Oh, Nidhogg.
Nidhogg, yeah.
Nidhogg's
We
amazing.
should play some Nidhogg.
Yeah, I played Nidhogg at EGX just because it's been out for a while, but
Yeah.
I haven't bought it yet because I don't know what platform is best. Probably PS4. I would think is the best platform to buy it on.
Yeah,
But man, that game is so good,
yeah.
just outstandingly good. It's like American football, sort of,
I
in the way
guess.
that you're like pushing each other back and forth along the game world. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a big worm eats you. with
yeah,
you.
you jump into the air and the worm.
Yeah, we should play some Nidhogg.
Yeah,
Some samurai.
we should play it on the internet, like broadcast it out, playing
Yeah,
somehow.
I don't know how that works.
People might watch us play Nidhogg.
I only know how iPads work. And I only barely know how iPads work.
It's magic. The work of a powerful wizard.
Yeah. Like the entirety of the last podcast, we were talking into the wrong end of the iPad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, we're geniuses then.
Earlier I was just like, left of iPad, right of iPad, top of iPad.
Was it like a
What's
sound?
on iPad?
Was that your sound card?
Yeah,
It works
yeah.
perfectly.
I was like, oh no, it's in the top of the iPad. Cool.
Yeah.
So hopefully this
Well,
one...
our technical idiocy hasn't stopped us from spending another hour talking about games again.
Yeah. Whether it's me taping a weird little microphone to a TV and shouting into it or...
We literally cannot be stopped.
No. Although this time we've got the iPad the right way around, but then
Fantastic.
But then we're not talking...
We're sitting on an
into-
L-shaped couch, so one third of us is talking directly into the microphone. So
Yeah.
I guess we'll see how this one
I guess
turns
that's
out.
probably pretty good though, because the 1/3 that's talking directly into it is me, and I've got the like girly voice,
Yeah.
the like quiet, polite voice. So
Yeah.
you've got your deep baritones.
I wish I
whatever.
talked like that all
I
the
know,
time.
right? Me too. I'd love you more if you talk like that.
That's the accent of someone who would speak like and know a lot about wine or something.
Or gelatin snacks.
Yeah. Let me tell you about this Pinot Grigio.
Fruity flavors.
Yeah.
You can taste some grass and dirt and cow patties.
I'm getting some jammy poops. And the scent of jammy poops. And
Yes, sort of Tabasco.
hint of Tabasco. I'm getting orange jelly babies.
Are you wafting over there?
I'm wafting.
It's fennel.
Smells like
Okimotes.
smells like crack cocaine from the bad part of town and clean grass cuttings. I think we should do a wine podcast.
Very clearly.
Can we please just drink, Mateus the entire time.
I think we should drink
Yes.
Mateus and talk
Mateus
about.
out of the little bottles, though, the little single serving bottles.
Are the Mateus single serving bottles still the same shape?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hells yeah.
Ah.
Oh yeah,
I know, right?
they
Where'd you
didn't
get
change those. They sell them at Sainsbury's.
You can get them at, I think, Tesco now, too.
All of the classy places
Yeah,
to buy your
exactly.
alcohol from.
They be
doing?
everywhere, man.
Yeah, we should drink it on ice from a
Do they serve
tumbler.
it in Burger Kebab Galaxy?
They probably don't because that's probably like...
Burger Kebab Galaxy changed their fries and they're not good anymore.
Yeah.
Did they switch from the Dutch to the English?
No! They switched to a McDonald's style French fries.
only Dutch potatoes.
So, what are they doing there?
Just like
They're-
McDonald's style French
Oh,
fries,
okay.
like
They're
Korean French
yeah.
fries, not chips.
They were like,
I like steak chips.
they used to be. Well, they weren't like steak chips before. They sort of like were
They were just,
between.
no, they were kebab chips. They're just kebab chips. That's what they are. That's that style.
That's
of
not a
chip.
thing.
Yes, it is.
That's an American thing that you made
No,
up.
it's not.
Kebab chips.
No, because that's
think I
the
know
only
you-
place that you can get them at kebab shops.
they're
You
halfway.
don't get those chips anywhere else.
They're halfway between like a steak fry and a regular ass
It's the
fry.
chippy, but the crispy type of chippy chip.
But it's not like a fish shop chippy because those are different lengths and they're fatter.
Oh.
These are the ones that are in between that you get from kebab shops. That's the only place.
Yeah, all right. Well,
Okay.
you can't get them from this kebab shop anymore because they don't do them.
Well, we
anymore.
don't know that. We think that maybe, and by we I mean I, and by think I mean hope, that they accidentally ordered the wrong thing and now have all these chips that they
That's
have to get
like
rid of.
really wishful
and that
thinking.
they were going to go back to the normal ones ASAP.
I absolutely love that you guys have an intimate knowledge of a kebab shop. It's amazing.
It
Especially
is like literally 30 feet away.
Well, when
You have to trip over
when
it
your
to get
wife
to your
is
flat.
like addicted to fries like they're narcotic, then you have to
I don't like fries, I
you
like
have,
chips.
you have to find the best place to get them.
But what if they had curly chips?
Oh my Jesus.
Curly fries.
I would not leave this house. I would just order them. Hi, could you please come up to the 7th floor? Again, I
Yeah,
can't
we're
get out the door. Too fat now. Give me more curly fries.
Just put them through the letterbox.
Chicken Spot's done. They closed. They don't
Really?
exist anymore.
What about,
So we can't get curly fries anywhere.
what is it, Pizza Spot that was
It
next
is
to
still Pizza Spot, but now it's called something else.
Maybe they do chips.
I think now it's called like Peri Peri Pizza Spot. I don't think it is. I think it's just a
That's-
Peri Peri chicken place, but they don't do curly fries.
That's very unfortunate.
I know, because I don't want to make curly fries in a damn oven. I want them to be fried in the fryer.
Well, then I'll never go to W13 ever again. That entire part of London is dead to me.
Not speaking about it anymore.
Nope.
Northfields doesn't exist.
Northfields for, yes, it's only in the history books.
Yes. Are we waiting until Josh gets back?
No, I was thinking we should have faded out. I was planning on fading out during his wine rant, but I think I quite like this whole bit about kebab shops. Oh well.
Just go on the internet and people are going to know that I have a problem with chips. Hi, my name's Lori and I love chips. Hi, Lori.
That'll just be the comments. It'll just say hi Laurie a million times.
Let's all sit in a circle and talk about chips.
I have a problem with onion rings. Get out!
Yeah.
That's a few doors down.
I was just say 3 doors down, left hand side. I really like chicken finger BLTs. No, just fuck off. You're done. Out of the whole building. Go sit in the parking lot.
I really like grapes. It's like, what are you doing?
With your life.
Yeah. I'm gonna hit the stop button.
We're fading.
Yep, I drank.